I get paralysis by analysis very easily. When I have a project, I'm not sure how to do it. It's something I've never done before. Then I start thinking about what if, or how will I handle this particular situation. It's like, how will I attach the panels to the ceiling? Something like that will put me behind by 2 or 3 weeks, just sitting there thinking for days, or staying up nights wondering how in the world I'll solve a problem. This happens more often than you'd think. Probably about 6 or 8 months ago, I insulated my ceiling after going almost a year with no insulation. I'll link an episode above where I put in the polyiso foam panels that I have now. And back then I couldn't figure out how to get them to stick to the ceiling. I tried all sorts of adhesives and the panels kept falling down. I ended up coming up with a solution of putting these wood toggles here. So they're just sort of screwed into the aluminum struts that go back and forth across the roof and hold the panels from falling down. This has been a short-term solution that has ended up being there for almost 8 months. So I've been encouraged by a new friend, a subscriber, Tyler, to get my act together, and he's going to help me put in ceiling panels tomorrow. And so today I told him that I'd do the prep work, 3 individual items, to get ready for tomorrow to be able to put in the panels. In between the polyiso panels here, there is a aluminum strut. This attaches directly to the outside to the roof. Now right now, because the sun is beating down on my roof, I can actually feel that this is warm. So what I want to do is put some insulation tape, pipe insulation tape, to cover this gap so that there's not a conductive metal source going directly to the outside. This is important for both summer and for winter. So I'm using pipe tape. I put some up before here. This is what it looks like. And you can see the tape here. And it's silver and reflective on one side and then foam on the other. So that's item number 1, is put tape across that gap between the foam panels. Item number 2 is going to be dealing with the ceiling fans. The ceiling fans have wood here that go around the trim on the outside. The problem is this is 3/4 inch, and the gap to the distance where the panel will be is 1.5. So I've got to sort of figure out how to close this gap with another 3/4 inch of wood around the edge so that the panels will sit flush. Item number 3 is going to be mounting these LED lights. I have about 100 feet, 200 or 300 of these little LED lights. They should be cool, and they're supposed to be sort of a golden color. And I believe they have a remote control, which you can see here pictured. And this is 12 volts, and it's not battery powered, so I'm going to be able to hook it directly into my fuse box. And so I am sort of excited about this. The whole idea for the lights came from when I was about 14 or 15. I became really obsessed with the, I don't know, sort of psychedelic ambient lighting. I think when I was a teenager, they had these voice-activated wood boxes with a plastic panel in front, and lights would blink in the background based on music or your voice or something like that, and they had these star and diamond patterns and things like that. And I just became entranced. It's almost like watching a screensaver or some sort of mesmerizing moving light pattern. And so ever since I was a teenager, I wanted to be able to lay down and look up at some sort of a little light show on my ceiling. So that's what this weird project is about, of putting up these clear panels on my ceiling and putting these LED lights in there so that I can have this ambient light show as I just lay there and stare up at my ceiling. Here's the tape that I'm going to be using to cover the gaps. I've got all the lights up, and I think it's looking pretty spectacular. I can't wait to see what this looks like at night or in the evening and after I get the clear panels above, but right now, thumbs up. I love it. I went ahead and installed this just using duct tape. Originally I was going to use some clear tape here, but the clear tape just was not sticking. It kept coming off. So I think this is close enough to the silver here that behind the clear panels it's not going to be a big deal. I got a lot of comments from subscribers about this print that's on the back side of the insulation panels that I installed, and they were concerned that it's going to be visible through the clear panels that I'm going to be installing here. And I agree that that's true. You're going to be able to see that through there, but I sort of like that. And I know that sounds totally weird. I'm a graphic designer. I have a funky sense of style, and I guess it all goes back to something I once saw in Denver. It was a graphic design artsy commune called Taxi. And it was a former taxi depot that had been converted over for use by architects, photographers, sculptors, painters, graphic designers, and illustrators. So it was just this art haven type place. And they had taken and built all of their walls out of metal studs and plexiglass or some sort of clear panels, very similar to what I'm doing for the ceiling panels. And you could see all of the insulation print and all of the wiring and everything that was inside of the walls, and they were sort of translucent, so you could see through some of the walls. And it looked just really cool, sort of a grunge tech kind of industrial look, and I really like that, and that's sort of the inspiration for what I'm doing on my ceiling here, with you being able to see the stuff that's behind the panels and having some of the lights come through. And I don't know, just sort of it's sort of like those clear swatches where you could see all the gears inside through the clear panels. And it's sort of that idea brought to the ceiling. So that's what I'm going for, and yes, it's intended. And as the rest of the step van comes together and you start seeing the decor, you'll get a little bit better idea of what I'm going for. For example, you can see I've started installing some of these gauges and things that I've been collecting, and creating this sort of techno eclectic collection. So this is sort of the look that I'm going to be going for ultimately. I'm sitting in my new passenger captain's chair, just really enjoying the lights that I just installed. These things are so cool. I have them set up right now to go on a cycle. They'll dim down in 20 seconds. There, they just went off. And then they brighten back up to 100%. It's just fabulous. Love it. Can't wait to see how they look once I get the plastic panels installed, actually sandwiching the lights in between. I did feel them with my fingertips, and they're absolutely cool. I can't feel any heat coming off them at all, so I think they'll be fine against the plastic. FYI, they draw about 5 watts for, I don't know, it's about 100 lights, something like that. That's all I have for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. Savor the moment, and I'll see you next episode.